name is Jonathan Macri. I'm an attorney at Parker Waichman, and I want to give you a little sample of some of the questions that I'm going to ask your doctor up on the witness stand during your trial. Doctor, could you please introduce yourself to the jury? Could you explain your educational background? Where did you go to medical school? How long have you been a doctor? What type of doctor are you? What type of injuries do you usually treat in the regular course of your profession? How long have you been treating these types of injuries? Now, did there come a time when you met my client? Could you identify him here in the courtroom today? And what were the circumstances that caused you to come into contact with my client? When did you first start treating my client? Do you remember a day that came where my client was involved in a motor vehicle accident? When was the first time that you saw my client after that motor vehicle accident? What do you remember about that time that you saw him? What do you remember about the treatment that you gave my client after you saw him for that first time? After that first visit, did you come to decide on a course of treatment that you were going to have my client undergo over the course of the next few months? How long did that treatment last? What did that treatment consist of? Did there come a point in time where you decided to have my client undergo any diagnostic testing? What types of diagnostic testing was that? Did you give my client any MRIs? What is an MRI? Could you explain to the jury what an MRI shows us about someone's injuries? Now, I'm showing you some MRIs that you took of my client's neck and back after his car accident on the date listed here. Could you interpret for the jury what exactly this shows us? Now, you just said that this shows us that there are some herniations in this individual's back. What is a herniation? How is this affecting my client's day-to-day life? Now, those were just a small sampling of questions that, again, I would ask a doctor, in this case an orthopedist, on the witness stand during my client's trial. Now, this is a very condensed version, and typically a direct examination of this nature might go on for a few hours to give the jury, in this case, a full and complete picture of both the injuries that my client suffered and what results from those injuries. And when I say what results, I mean specifically the types of things that my client maybe has difficulty doing or is no longer able to do as a result of the injuries he suffered. Now, you're watching this video, you likely had a car accident of your own, and you have some questions I'm sure that you'd like answered. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to give me a call. Again, my name is Jonathan Macri, and at Parker Waichman, a lot of the cases that we have that involve motor vehicle accidents end up getting taken to trial, and we have a lot of experience in this area. So give me a call at the number below me on the screen right now. I look forward to hearing from you, answering any questions you might have, and most of all, thank you for watching. Have a great day.